At exactly 5:10 a.m., my future daughter-in-law pounded on my elderly mother's front door carrying legal papers and a terrifying warning. She claimed I was in serious trouble. She said my mother's house had to be transferred immediately to protect our family. Mom was seconds away from signing. Then headlights flooded the driveway. I stepped out with detectives, a lawyer, and evidence exposing a secret she had spent years hiding. What happened next turned a family wedding into a criminal investigation. After my father passed away, my 73-year-old mother lived alone in the home where she had spent 40 years raising our family. That house was her pride, her safety, her memories. When I introduced my family to Vanessa, everyone loved her, especially Mom. Vanessa called her every week, brought flowers, helped with groceries, remembered birthdays. She acted like the daughter Mom never had, but behind the smiles she was studying something else. Mom's finances, her savings, her insurance policies, and eventually, her house. At first the questions seemed harmless, then they became frequent. Then they became specific. Too specific. One day, Vanessa casually asked what would happen to the house if Mom ever became unable to manage her affairs. That question stayed in my mind. A few weeks later, another strange thing happened. Vanessa told a story about her successful career. Something didn't sound right. I checked. The company she claimed to work for had never employed her. That single discovery led me down a path I never expected. I hired a private investigator. What we uncovered was terrifying. Multiple aliases, fake employment histories, several former partners, and a disturbing pattern involving elderly property owners. One victim nearly lost his home. Another lost a large portion of his retirement savings. Every trail somehow led back to Vanessa. The closer she got to marriage, the more aggressively she pursued access to family assets. My mother's house had become her ultimate target. For weeks, investigators quietly collected evidence. Bank records, witness statements, financial documents, recorded conversations. Everything pointed to the same conclusion. Vanessa wasn't building a family. She was building an opportunity. Then came the morning that changed everything. At exactly 5:04 a.m., loud knocking shook Mom awake. When she opened the door, Vanessa stood there looking terrified. She carried a folder stuffed with legal papers. According to her, I was facing a financial emergency. She claimed lawsuits were coming. Assets were at risk. The family could lose everything. The only solution, she insisted, was for Mom to immediately transfer ownership of her home, right now, before anyone else got involved. Before sunrise. Before making a single phone call. Mom was frightened, confused, and vulnerable. Vanessa spread documents across the kitchen table and repeatedly pointed to the signature lines. Just sign. We don't have time. Trust me. At first she sounded caring, then impatient, then angry. The moment Mom hesitated, Vanessa's mask began slipping. For the first time, she looked less like family and more like a stranger. Then bright headlights filled the front yard. Several vehicles pulled into the driveway. Vanessa looked out the window. Her face instantly turned white. I stepped out first. Behind me came two detectives, a lawyer, and the private investigator. The room fell silent. The lawyer placed a thick evidence file on the table. Photographs, financial records, witness testimony, fake identities, fraud reports, years of deception. One by one, every lie collapsed. Vanessa tried explaining, then denying, then blaming others. Nothing worked. The evidence was overwhelming. Detectives informed her that the paperwork she brought that morning appeared fraudulent and that she was connected to multiple ongoing investigations involving financial crimes and attempted property fraud. For the first time since entering our lives, she had absolutely nothing to say. Mom sat frozen in disbelief. Only minutes earlier, she had nearly signed away the home she spent decades building with my father. One signature, One mistake. One lie. That was all it would have taken. As detectives escorted Vanessa outside, she finally realized her plan was over. The woman who arrived expecting ownership papers left facing criminal investigations instead. Months later, authorities uncovered additional victims across several states. The case became much larger than anyone imagined. Families recovered assets. Victims finally received answers. And my mother kept the home she loved. At 5:04 a.m., my mother believed she was helping family. By sunrise, she learned family was being used as a weapon against her. The woman who wanted her house left in a police car. The house remained exactly where it belonged. But the lesson stayed with us forever. The most dangerous betrayals don't come from strangers. They come from the people you trust enough to hand them a key.